left my home in Livingston, Montana to go on a road trip across country. I'm heading east. Gonna be stopping in the Midwest and then working my way down south, possibly as far as Texas before I head back home. And with that comes the announcement of my next project. This summer I'll be hiking the Continental Divide Trail with my girlfriend Amy and her dog Minnow. Compared to the other through hikes that I've done, the Continental Divide will be probably better trail conditions, easier navigation, but it's almost 3 times longer than anything I've done. It's 3,100 miles and it's going to take maybe up to 6 months. So this is going to be a big hike. It'll also be Amy's first through hike. So we're going to have a lot to figure out along the way. And we're going to be exploring how nature affects our well-being with a close look at the mind, body, and soul. Our goal is to kind of take a holistic look at nature and how us humans interact with it and why we need it. I think there's one major thing missing in society today, and that's that we have kind of lost our connection to nature. When we live in cities and we spend most of our time inside, it doesn't feel like we're a part of the overall system of nature, and I think there are a lot of negative consequences of that we're starting to see now. I'm going to include perspectives of a lot of different kinds of people in this movie. This will include a lot more than just hikers. I think there's a lot that can be learned from other people's stories and what they have experienced in nature, and maybe how they've used nature to heal or improve their lives in some way. So that's why I'm doing this road trip right now. I'll be talking to all different kinds of people on this trip, but one thing that kind of links everybody in common is that they have a powerful connection to nature. And the time that they've spent in nature has been a very important part of their life. So I'm interested in hearing their stories to get as many perspectives as possible from as many different kinds of people as possible about why it's important to have nature in our lives. I have about a 17-hour drive from Montana to Minnesota, so I'm breaking it up across a couple days. For the first day, I'm working my way out of Montana and into South Dakota, where I'll be stopping at the Badlands, and I'll be finding a free place to camp around there somewhere. Just made a quick stop at the Little Bighorn National Monument, where a battle between the colonial forces and the Native Americans took place. It's a pretty quiet place, and it's a very somber feeling there. Ever since I started going into the wilderness and spending a lot of time alone out there, I feel like I've kind of been on this path to understand what the wilderness does to people and to kind of bring this knowledge into the public eye. This is a journey that started probably 7 or 8 years ago, and it eventually led me to hike the Pacific Northwest Trail. That's kind of where I really discovered what the benefits are of spending time in nature. And that was the trip that really solidified this path for me. Once I did that trail, I realized that I had a purpose in life, and this is going to be my goal for a very long time. And then a couple of years later, that led to the Hayduke Trail, which was just an extreme challenge. That was kind of taking this nature exploration stuff to the very most extreme, because that's one of the most difficult trails in America. And that's where I really brought together a lot of the ideas that I have been learning about for the past 5 years or so at that point. And I think this is kind of the message that modern society, and especially in America, that people are kind of looking for. The things that our society tells us are important, I think people are waking up to realizing that there's a lot more to life than just acquiring things and earning money and maybe trying to earn power or social status. I think a lot of people are starting to wake up to understand that life is about more than that there's something deeper to this. And I think a lot of us don't really know what it is, but we just have a feeling that there's something more to this life than those things. I have found that in nature, and basically everyone that I'm talking to on this road trip has also found that in nature. And I think that's the least controversial way to find some meaning in life. Camped outside Badlands National Park last night. I didn't get in until after dark, so I didn't have much to film. But I made some dinner. Hung out in the car for a little bit because it was cold. And then I set up camp, and it was super windy most of the night. Got down to like 25 degrees probably. I got up at first light, got everything packed up real quick, and now I'm just looking for a good spot to shoot the sunrise. It's a chilly morning out here, but I got to this overlook just in time to set up a time lapse of the sun coming up. I got my main camera on the slider here. It's starting out pointing at the sun, and as it slides across the track, the camera's going to pan across this whole overlook too. So that should be pretty cool as the sunlight kind of spills over into this basin. Then I'm going to take this camera that I'm filming on right now and point it out that way, and we should get some cool shadows kind of shrinking as the sun comes up. All of the shadows on the hills will go in the opposite direction. And there's a big herd of bison down there, so that should be kind of cool. It's a time lapse I'm moving around. There's nobody out here in January. So far I've seen one car go by. Got this whole place to myself pretty much. Compared to backpacking, this road trip stuff is pretty luxurious. I'm used to doing this stuff with the bare minimum amount of gear. And right now I can make some coffee, make some oatmeal right inside my car while the heat's on. So this is pretty nice. I only have about 8 hours of driving to get to St. Paul, and I have like a day and a half to get there, so I've got plenty of time. So I'm gonna take my time going through the Badlands. Probably spend about half a day here, just driving around, going slow, looking for wildlife to shoot. Feels just like driving through Yellowstone here. There's lots of bison everywhere. Then I'll drive probably 4 hours or so and try and find a nice campsite for tonight.